Yeah, well, good morning. Ekele diri Chineke. Wherever you are, onofia onozo, todirunuma. Wherever you are, may nothing be good but goodness follow you all around. I'm okay, Dibia Dr. Onyon Husimiri. I am your host on TISM Live. Today, our focus is going to be a discussion on spiritual cleansing, cleansing yourself of negativity, emptying out negativity and bringing in positivity. I am particularly excited today because I got a very, and I'll share that in a minute. But let me bring in my co-host first before we go any further. Ibi Ochoaja.
I'll go on. I'll go on. Let me put this on so I can see a little better. It's like, what is that? The Little Red Riding Hood? You know, the fox, the wolf says, let me put my glasses on so I can see you better. But of course, I'm not going to devour. So there we go.
Yeah. Okay, let me first of all let me remind our audience that and here's an exciting thing that you need to know. We are on Jams Radio. So we stream on Jams Radio. Yes. So if you want to see, if you can go to Chisholm on Facebook and see, on YouTube and see our videos, but you can hear on the radio on Jams Radio if you want to hear us there. So we stream there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here today. And let me remind you again to subscribe to Chisholm Live on YouTube. Look, we need your support. You know, we get up every Sunday. We come and we talk to you. Now, some of you agree with what we're saying, and maybe you have not subscribed. And if you have not done that, you should. You should, because the subscription is important. It shows that our listeners are supporting us. So we need you. We also need you to join our conversation on. Let me put this here. That's TSM Live on YouTube. Go there and subscribe. Look, if you've subscribed already, good. If you have not, then tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your friend, tell your neighbor, whomsoever. Anybody that shares our philosophy, our spiritual thinking, our cultural identification, our love for humanity, tell them to come here. And look, what we say, you may not like everything we say, but that's okay. We ask you to come and you challenge us. Talk to us. Let's have a conversation. Actually, that's what life is all about. Everything builds based on conversation and understanding. You know, that is an Igbo proverb. After understanding. So though you may not agree, but I tell you, we may agree on something. We may disagree on something, but we can talk about it. So go and subscribe to Cheese and Life and leave your comments there. I guarantee you that we will be sure to go back there and speak your implements. Either way, we'll be excited to have your subscription. Also join our discussion on the topic on Cheese and Live on Facebook on this channel, on this Facebook channel. Please be sure to go there and join us every Sunday at 10 a.m. Have conversations. Even if you did not come to this, get everything on this show, you can still make conversations there, ask questions. Hey, and some things that you share during this the show, we will share it on the screen so everybody will know your thoughts. So please join us on our discussion on this topic on Cheesem Live every Sunday. Then also, you can read our informative tracks on Global Faith Ministries or Cheesem on Facebook. You know, Judy and I we write. I mean, I love to write, so I love to write
Hmm.
positive messaging, things that will enrich your spirit. So visit us
Yeah.
on Global Faith Ministries of Cheesem on Facebook. We will be so happy to chat with you.
Let me also
Then,
say this right quick.
if you want a whole
Yeah.
lot more, you can visit our website, cheesem.org. We have a lot of information that that we share there, and that you can use. We have some people who are doing research. I want you to go there and get some information about Ghanaian religion, get information about how Chiism or whatever you want to know about our spirituality. All right. Remember, there's no harm in learning. Every educated person, if you call yourself educated, what you do is you go and learn how other people think. A lot of what I share with you, I do go and read. I do go and research how other people think. Now, it may differ from my own manner of giving thanks to the Creator, but I still want to know what are the similarities, what can I take from it, and what I don't need to take from it. So I want you to do the same. So you go there. Now, there's so much, I want to say, there's so much you can do on this site on cheism.org. You can blog, you can join our membership, you can donate to the Onyinye project. The Onyinye project is what we use to do community work, to help people, widows, to help feed the community. So you can be of help to us there. So visit. And UD, you had something you wanted to add
No, I
to the
just said
conversation?
on Cheers and Live, we get into the deeper dive. We talk about things that people are not comfortable with, right? But it's okay.
Yeah,
Being uncomfortable
yeah,
with the truth. Truth has never made people comfortable. A lot of times we just want
yes,
to sweep things under the rug because we prefer to be momentarily comfortable as opposed to having our feathers ruffled a little bit so that we could get to the root of the problem. Having surgery
yes,
is not a beautiful experience, but it is necessary because once you
yes.
survive your surgery and you heal up real good, you are back to square one, feeling strong and feeling good. So if
Yes.
we
Thank
hit
you.
a little chord or we ruffle your feathers a little bit, it is okay. That's how you resolve conflict and that's how you get to the root of the problem. We're not here to make
That's
anybody
right.
comfortable. We just want you
That's
to
right.
think.
That's right.
We want you to think about our
They're making
condition
people.
in the world. And that's it.
Yeah,
If we can get
yeah.
you to think and if we can get you to look back and say, maybe what we've been doing all along has been wrong, and maybe we need to try something else. Maybe we need to think a little differently. If we could get you to that
Yeah.
point, then we've done our job. So we need your support so that we could continue to
Yes.
stream Cheers in Live, bring it into your homes so that you can help us make a difference.
Yes. Well said. Well said. They will to Matthew Lewis. They will thank you for joining us. I would like to welcome Nosferatu. Yes, he says, look at those colors. You guys are matching, kinda, kinda. Okay. Yeah, but we got those colors. So thank you very much. Matthew says, congrats, that's great. Now, they will to Kuna Charles. Thank you for joining us, and we're glad you were able to get the alert today because you'll be missing it. So, thank you. We're looking good. Okay, we appreciate that. We certainly appreciate that.
I'm looking
I
good. What
want
did you
us before we
say?
get started. I want us before we get started today. I want to offer a prayer. I want to offer a prayer. And because what we're talking about today is the need for us to release negative energy. So it's important that when we get started, start by asking the Most High, Chineke. And I always like to remind people that Chineke is the same thing as Oludumare. Tamuna, Jinyami, Katonda, Nyemi, Nkosi. Chineke has different names and different tones. So Make no mistake about it. When I say Chineke, I'm talking about the same God that you are praising. So we are asking Chineke to please come today and be with us. Come with us, walk with us so that we may draw strength from you, Chineke, to endure moments of negative thoughts, to that cause us mental affliction and doom. We ask for your intervention. We want peace of mind so that we can see ourselves the way that we are, so we can see where our way clear. We may not always agree, as we indicated earlier, but in faith and in love and peace and joy, we can take from each other. As we run this race called life, we can do it with your support. And so we need your confidence, we need your ability
Good.
and your willingness, your desire to stand alongside all of us. Today we pray in your most sacred and holy name. We say,
You
Ashe,
say,
and
oh,
so it is.
oh, you're here.
Agazie, otito niile dịrị Chineke.
You say,
You know, I sometimes we do things and we get, sometimes they say don't look for validation in what you do. But there's something that says you don't accept it when it does come, right?
yep, yeah.
Because those are some of the things that
A
give
little pat
you
on the back is good
positive
once in a
feeling.
while.
A little pat on the back
Yeah.
is good, and take you away from negativity to positive lane. When somebody says, I received something this morning, it made my day. It was on my WhatsApp. And that's why I say you never know who is listening. You never know who is paying attention to what you're doing. But sometimes somebody just calls you to remind you. We hear you. I got a letter from a text from somebody that says, Ezewanyi, ekelekwam gị, elegant stallion, gazelle striding across the green savannah, Amazon queen, handed to you and the family. You are tirelessly and consistently promoting the Igbo and African words. Chukwu Abiyama, gọzie gị, gọzie gị n'ukwu, ogologo ndụ ga-abụ nke gị, ya gazie. And that was from Obina, no, Chidozie Okoro. And let me
Mm.
tell you, that made my morning. I had a certain step on my.
a
I mean,
little,
I
a
wasn't
little
walking
pep
regular
in
after
your
that. I was on
walking.
cloud
Yeah.
nine. That was nice.
Hmm. Yeah, it was.
That
I
was
mean,
just nice for some.
it's great to
That
get
was just.
hear the
Go ahead, go
validation.
ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's great to hear the validation sometimes. You've heard me say this so many times. If you have an objective and you feel that it's for the benefit of the community, for the benefit of
Yes,
my people, and of course, ultimately for your own benefit and your family's benefit,
yes.
I don't look for somebody to validate my reasons why I have to do what I feel is necessary. You've heard me say, build it and they shall come. That letter that you got from Mr. Okoro was because we are building it. People are listening. Sometimes we don't get this
You
overwhelming
don't even know
crescendo.
sometimes where they're coming from.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get this
Yeah,
overwhelming crescendo of people that are looking at you and going, rah, 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 rah. But you know
yeah,
that if you
yeah.
build it, if you understand that your message,
Mm.
sometimes because of what we've experienced as people of African ancestry, it's not easy to swallow this pill. It's not easy to look in the mirror sometimes. It's not easy to turn away
Mm.
from the European or the Arab and look at yourself and look in the mirror and say, maybe I also have something to do with my condition in the world today. So we get people to look in the mirror. We make you to take stock of your communal responsibility. We make you to look at yourself, dive in a little deeper and understand yourself that it's just not about getting up, going to work, raising your family, putting food on the table. It's just not all about that. It is also our responsibility as human beings, as human animals, to think of the next generation. All animals do that. Every animal is thinking of the next generation. Life is a painful experience because from the day you are born, it's about survival. If you're a lion, it's about mastering your environment so that you could be able to hunt, learn how to hunt. If you're an antelope, it's about being able to avoid the lion so you don't get eaten while you're trying to eat. And you teach the next generation how to do that, how to survive. As human species, from the day you are born, it's the same story as a lion.
It's
Master
the
your
same.
environment.
You know,
Know who you're dealing with.
you,
Know exactly what it is that you're supposed to do so that you could be able to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and build a better world for your children. It's a constant struggle. And most people,
you,
because they're mired in this struggle, never really take stock, never really
you
look
know
in the
what?
mirror. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to share this with you. You
Yes.
know, I love everything you just. Uh, I have a tendency to attend uh, Tim Tracy. I had an opportunity to attend one of his workshops, and
Yeah.
it was really, really very good because sometimes it's good to expand your your source of information because we're all human.
Hmm.
Every human being
Yeah.
has something to offer. So you go to sometimes you have to see what other people are thinking about the same topic that you have an
Yeah.
opinion, you have a position on. So
Yeah.
he was now he's not very aggressive in his presentation. He's quite calm, but he was talking about positivity.
Yeah.
How to be a positive person, or the difference between positive people and negative people.
Hmm.
And then you have to decide where you are. And Dr. Norman Vincent Peale wrote a book called The Power of Positive Thinking, and
Hmm.
it's considered one of the most powerful and popular books to date. It was
Yeah.
years ago that he wrote it.
Yes. I'm aware of
You heard about it, and
it.
it yes, it's about the power of positive thinking on
Yeah.
personal success and personal development. Okay, his basic message, and if you're in that audience and you see, people are just glued to him, listening, and he says that the basic message is that if you think in a positive way, you will have positive results.
Yeah.
You will be happier most of the time. In Igbo prayer, we say, "If onye na-achọkọ ọfụ, if onye na-achọkọ ọfụ,
Hmm.
what you seek, so shall you find." Okay? If your focus is on negativity, that's what you're going to find. If your focus is on positivity, that's what you're going to find. So, how do you use the positive thinking? How do you arrive at the power of positive thinking? Also, there was a study done at the University of Pennsylvania, and it was funded by some of the biggest American universities. Over a 22-year period. Like I said, it was an intriguing workshop to attend. So they interviewed over 350,000 people, just like you and I, and asked them
Yeah.
a lot of questions about their lives and their attitudes and so on. You know, and you can, you can pick up immediately the kind of person you're dealing with when you start asking them about, what are their thoughts? What do you think about this? What do they think about that? See how they respond. If they respond starting to talk about it and talk about whatever it is they experience in a negative way, these are negative people. But if the people who see the other side of the coin and not focus on the negative side of it, and they are focusing on the positive side as they relate to it, as they tell you what they think about anything, those are very positive. They tend to be very positive. So one of the questions that they asked these people is mostly students actually, is what they think about most of the time. What do you think about most of the time? When they conducted a series of experiments, they had graduate students who were working on their papers in psychology and sociology and things of that nature. And they phoned these people once a week at random, during the week, and just pretty much when the people are busy, or and then they just ask them, what are you thinking about right now? And whatever the person tells them, they write it down. The next week, they'll call them again and they ask, what are you thinking about? And they write it down. They pretty much talk to the same people. It's like prearranged with the same people. And they're not telling these people why they're calling them. They're just asking them these, questions. But they know that they should expect the call. And then they will ask them, what are you thinking about right now? So whatever that person tells them, they write it down. All right. So then they began to sort the groups out in terms of the best styles, 10% in the bottom, 10% in the middle, 10% in the top. And anyway, when all was said and done, they came up to 100% to see who had the highest positive attitude. What I noticed is that the people in the top 10% thought very differently from the people on the bottom 10%. So what is it that the people on the top think about that's different from the people on the bottom? Can you guess? Can you guess what they think
No.
about? Well, the answer
Well,
is quite simple.
positivity. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. But what they think about is what they think about most of the time is their goals,
Yeah.
their objectives, their priorities, and about their actions and activities each day to address those goals
To
and
address. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's what they
Yeah.
focus on. They're about the number of people they need to call. Who do I talk with today? I have a proposal to make. Who do I make the proposal to? I need to put together a number of things, and who do I need? So it's always a matter of how. Whoops, excuse me. I just
Mm.
broke my glasses.
Uh-oh, that's not good. Anyway, it's a matter of how do I solve this problem, and then you go about trying to put together, a system that will help you to achieve your goals. We are drivers of our successes, right? There's nothing, there's no magic about it. We are drivers of our own successes. How important are our goals, and what are we willing to do to achieve them? Now, this is based on an equal playing field in a society or in a community where you don't have wars, you don't have conflicts, you don't have persecutions. You're in a free society where people, are able to plan their future and are able to, execute, their plans and their strategies in order to achieve their goals. They are firm believers that they are responsible for their own successes. You might get breaks here and there on your journey, but for the most part, it is the groundwork that you lay, it is the research that you do, it is the contacts that you make that will ultimately get you where it is that you want to go. But for those
See, I'm
people
back.
at the bottom of the rung,
God,
oh, okay, I will just continue your conversation,
yeah, I
but
know because I was.
yeah, I'm assuming that the people at the bottom of the rung, they are more, how do I say, all they talk about or what they feel is maybe it is somebody else's fault. If I had gotten this break or that break, I would have been able to do this or do that. Now, this is assuming that the playing field is level. It is assuming that you don't have any conflicts in the society. It is assuming you don't have wars. It is assuming that the leadership of the country or the way the country operates or from a social and business and political, theater is that everybody is equal under the society and we all have an equal chance to be successful, provided that you lay your plans down, provided that you understand that you are the driver of your success, provided that you have plans you make the right contacts, you're willing to do whatever is necessary within the law to achieve your goals. You're a
There you
go-getter.
go.
Yeah.
There's the point right there. Uh,
Mm.
how? All of us need to embrace that word. How? It is
Yep.
how. When you have
How
a
do you do it?
goal, you don't think about, oh, I would like to do this, and well, I would like to do this. How do I do it? That's
Yeah.
what
And
positive
you're willing to learn.
thinkers do. They focus on how to get to where they want to be. Okay,
Hmm.
this is what they found. That's what the research found, that everybody who's positive, for the most part, if they have a goal, they don't stand in the way of the goal. Instead, they want to know how they can achieve their goal. And if they have a problem, they want to ask, how do we solve this problem? Not if you have an obstacle, how can I overcome this obstacle? So their favorite word is how. So if you want to be positive, learn to use the word how. How, not why.
Mm.
Why did it happen to me? How do I solve the problem, the obstacle? How do I overcome obstacles? They say, I always say obstacles are good. People look at obstacles as negative. No, obstacles teach you how to build muscles. Have you heard me say that before? Big muscles that you
Yeah.
can flex. If you don't have these obstacles or challenges, how do you know how to get out of it? How do you know how to get out of anything? It's if you work through one, right? Then you know how to work
Mm.
through the next one and the next one and the next
Think
one.
about,
But if your
yeah,
road is smooth, if
mm.
your
You
road
know
is
what I always
smooth,
think about?
right?
Yeah. No, I say, you know
What?
what I always think
So,
about? I always think about um, there's this guy, right? I'm going to use him, even though he ended up doing something very bad. But I'm going to
mhm,
take that out of this, story for a second. It's not really a story, but just an example. I'm just going to take what he did in the end out of it and just look at what happened to him before he did what he did in the end. There's a South African guy called Pistorius. You ever heard of him?
mm-mm,
Pistorius was he had both legs amputated when he was a child, and he ended up with prosthetics
mhm,
and decided to run in the Olympics, but he didn't want to run in the Special Olympics. He actually wanted to run with people that got legs, and he did,
mhm,
and he trained, and I think he ended up with a bronze medal or something like that. But in his mind at that time, as far as he was concerned, he was just as good as anybody else, and he just needed a strategy. He needed great prosthetics, and he needed to
mhm.
train. He needed to do whatever was necessary for him to be able to
Necessary.
compete
That's
with
right.
people that got two legs. I'm not talking about in the
Hmm.
Special Olympics. He did not see himself. He did not see himself as less than. Yes, I may not have two legs, but if I get those prosthetics that I need, I'm going to be able to compete with everybody else. And he put himself on that level and did whatever was necessary to get there. He
Mm.
never put any
Yes.
limitations on himself. And
Hmm.
he ended up making it. He became famous
Yes.
and started making a lot of money. But in the end, he committed, murder. He said it was an
Mm.
accident, but he's in jail now and all that kind of stuff. But the point is, sometimes we put limits on ourselves and what it is that we can achieve.
Hmm.
And the way we put those limits is not by saying that we can't do it, just like you
Yes.
mentioned, but by saying
Mm.
I can't do it because of this or because of that.
Yes.
Now remember, we're
Mhm.
assuming that the field it's a level playing field. You don't have societal, issues that may prevent
Yes.
you from being able to achieve your goals because there's a war or some tribal thing or religious wars or whatever. You got chaos in the community. You don't have the infrastructure and all that. And even that doesn't stop some people from finding a way to make it. Let me give you another example. There's a guy in Lagos, Buff Buff, right? Akara.
Yes. Oh, yes. I
Uh-huh.
heard about that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. What did this guy do? He used to work at a bank
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't getting the promotion. His career wasn't moving the way he wanted to. He's a college educated
Yeah.
guy. He ended up
Mm-hmm.
getting a contract from his boss, who was a bank manager, to come to the village and cook for him for two
Mm-hmm.
weeks for the whole holiday. They
Yeah.
agreed on like 50,000 naira or something like that. So he went to the village with the guy, left his family for 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, didn't do anything, and cooked every day, fed the villagers, did whatever was told for him to do. And in the end, that guy only paid him 15,000 naira for 2.5 weeks worth of cooking work that he did for this guy. So he came back. He said, well, I love to cook. I spent 2 weeks cooking. This guy really did me wrong. So you know what? I'm just going to go on and quit my job and quit humiliating myself. And I'm going to take my cooking skills and start something. So he started to bake puff puff and akara by the roadside.
Mm. Yes.
But his puff puff and akara was so good. During lunch, when people get off for lunch, they come to his little stand in the street right there and get some
Mm-hmm.
akara.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, he hired somebody to open up another stand and have that person cook for him. He ends up with
Yes.
11 stalls of akara
Mm-hmm.
making a puff puff.
And he's providing employment.
He provided, and there was a lady
Yes.
that used to come there and buy the akara. I started asking him,
Yes.
how did you end up doing this akara thing? So he told the girl his story and everything. The girl quit her job and decided, you know what, brother? I'm going to join you in this akara adventure. They
And now
got
they're
married.
big.
Now they're big.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one way of doing it.
You understand what I'm saying? So the
Yeah.
point is, it doesn't,
That's
if
asking
you're given,
how,
yeah, is how do I get out of my situation? When somebody
how.
gives you
Yes.
lemons,
Yes.
figure out how to make lemonade with it, right?
Yes.
If you
Yes.
think positively, you will find there's
Yes.
a gold mine pretty much under any rock. There's a pot of
That's
gold
right.
somewhere,
That's
but
right.
you have to be
That's right.
positive. You have to believe in
Yes.
yourself. You can't deal with the
Mm-hmm.
negativity because you only have one time to get it right in life. One time. You don't get a second chance. At least if you get a second
And they
chance,
are there, and you are surrounded. You are
you're
surrounded
surrounded.
by negative people. It's a,
Negativity,
and
it's
the
there.
negative people, that energy. You know how you can walk into a room and the heads turn to look at you. You can
Yeah.
just feel that energy. Now there are two kinds of energy that you may feel depending on where you go. You can feel the
Mm,
energy of animosity, and you can
yeah.
see how people may look at you and cock their heads or whatever. Oh my God, I gotta get out of here. I
And
shouldn't be
people
here.
are
Or then
usually not happy
or
with your success.
or you walk into a room and they're smiling. Hey, how are you? That's positive energy. That's where you want to
Yeah.
be. But if you walk into somewhere and you said hi, somebody see, can do. That person doesn't mean you well.
they've already started
They've
addressing.
already made up their minds about you. You just want to get
Yeah.
away. Now, Earl Nightingale once said
Mm,
that happiness is the progressive step-by-step realization of a worthy ideal or goal. That's happiness. That's
yeah.
happiness. When you understand and you realize that your goals, your ambitions are worthy, that makes you happy. That's when you
You
start
know,
asking, how
I
do I
love
make
that.
this happen? When
I
you
love that. I love it.
yes, let me say it again. Happiness is the progressive step-by-step realization of a worthy ideal or goal because what happens now once you realize that it's worth it, you start asking, how do I get there? All right, now the other thing is, um and that'll make you happy most of the time. Once you're happy with
Mm,
your goals and ideals, that'll make then you feel yourself moving towards every day, every hour, every inch, towards that something that's important to you, that makes you happy, that makes you feel positive. Do
mm.
you know what unsuccessful people think about though? I guess you know. Unsuccessful people think about
too
most of the
hard,
time
too
is what
difficult.
they don't want. Now, because I talk my fa because no rap marker because this root
Mm,
negative, negative, negative. I don't want that. Can you share that on camera? Just negative talk, and they don't realize, and we should realize that that negative talk that we spew out. See, words are things, and they latch on to the walls, right? And at some
yeah.
point, they will leave the walls and come back to you. You may give it to someone words. No, they will come back to you. Every time that you speak negativity into the universe, you grab it back. At some point, it's like a boomerang. It will come right back to you. And that's why they keep encouraging you. Try as much as possible not to dwell on on those negative things. They blame others. They think about what they don't have, what they don't want. See, these things that make them angry are usually, past events. We remember, oh my God, some years ago this happened to me. You know, you can't change those things, but if you focus on them, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
you recreate something that you happened 10 years ago, but the fact that you keep dealing with it, dwelling on it, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
going to bring them back. I want us to pause for a moment because at this time, um, I want us to remember and honor uh, the my mother, who was the Secretary General of the Godian religion. So please give me a moment so that we can. That's mom.
I
I
don't.
want to now then
That,
remember.
yeah, that's true.
Remember, she's still not buried yet.
Yeah, looking.
So she's still on our, still very
I'm,
much in our
I'm,
hearts. Her funeral is in December. December the 22nd is her funeral
yeah.
in Nigeria, in Nkuru, Nigeria. And we're all preparing to go home to give her, her last respects. And she was a wonderful mom anyway. And she led,
It was.
during the time of the Godian religion when it first started. She
Mm-hmm.
was one of the pioneers and powerhouses behind all of that. So what we're talking about today, that woman, she died at 91. That woman and Ahai Keokonyoha, they were behind all of that. So we continue to remember her. Okay. So I just want to go back to the conversation and what negative people do is they blame others. Huh? Am I telling the truth? They blame others. You
Oh,
see
yes.
people talking and complaining about things that they can't change in this in their life that is their responsibility, but they don't want to take responsibility. We got to blame somebody else. Think about it. Even I have to sometimes say, why are you blaming this person for this? You made this decision. You're where you are because you chose to be here. Then you want to be mad
Mhm.
because it's not going the way
What
you
is
want
that
it.
stuff? What is
Uh,
that stuff that you say? Whatever your mind finds itself, your
When,
no no wherever your
when
behind finds itself, your mind put it there.
your mind put it there. Your mind put it there. That's right.
Yeah,
We can't complain about something that we are initiating. Then when it doesn't go well
yeah.
our way, then we start complaining. And here's the bad part of that. If we are thinking people and if we are honest and kind people, we must realize that the negative things that we feed other people impacts them. It impacts your neighbor, your friend, your whomsoever. I remember Dr. What's her name? Um, Chief Emezue. Chief Emezue.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
you called her, she's always positive. We didn't even know, you know, uh, we didn't even know that Chief Emezue had cancer. I never until she died, and she was a very dear friend of mine. I never knew that Chief Emezue had cancer. She never made it a point to discuss negativity because she knows that would impact me negatively. negatively. So she tried as much as possible, not to dwell on the negativity, But once you come around people who just want to talk about things that happen to, even sometimes I don't even want to talk about what people did to us as African people. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
You can't change that. What you can change is what happens from now on. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about all the difficult things that happen to us, all the negative things that happen to us? We can't keep talking about, all those things that happened. It's time. At some point, we have to take control of our minds and what we do. At some point, we have to grab the wheel and steer it where we want it to go. You can't say, oh, you gave me the wheel. That somebody give me this wheel, and the wheel is turning to the right,
Mm.
going over a cliff, and I'm saying he gave it to me. Doggone it, by George, he gave it to me. I'm heading towards the cliff. What should I do? Should I focus on the fact that the wheel is going down the cliff, or steer it where I want it to go, and not blame the person who gave me the wheel? Right?
Because
You bought me a
sometimes
car. I'm hinting
staring
you
at
to buy me a car already. You're not getting.
no, you know,
You are not
there's,
there. You are not
no, I was just thinking about
there.
something you were saying, and my mind went off into, like not necessarily validating what you're saying, but just to buttress it a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but
Yes.
nobody wants to die, right?
Nobody
You
wants to
have
die.
all these
Yeah.
successes that you want to achieve in your life, but it's not going to
Yes.
happen by magic. And sometimes the realization that you have to do a certain amount of work to achieve those goals makes you think
Yeah.
negatively because you don't have the energy,
Yes.
you don't have the strategy,
Yes.
right? To be
Yes.
able to do whatever
Yes.
is necessary to impact your future in a positive way. Let me
Mm.
say this, or just an observation, or just a little story you and I are both aware of because we're in this together. In 1997, seeing what I had and know how I had accomplished, going to the United Nations, and you likewise going to South Africa, to Kenya, and all that kind of stuff. Always being there with Ahan, and
Mhm.
Ahan coming to the United States, coming to your place, and all that, and doing the services and promoting, Godianism, Chiism, and so on and so forth. Our brother on said, this thing called internet, man, don't you think we can use it to, you know, further this goal of spreading the world, not just about African spirituality or religion, but
Yes.
spreading the word in terms of what it is that we need to do to reclaim our greatness. So I said,
Mhm.
yeah. I said, I've been thinking about that because I'm in IT. I said, I've been thinking about that, but I don't know how to build a website. So we got a guy in Michigan to build it for us. But in the process of trying to build it, we became a gold mine for him to tap whenever he wanted to. I need $100 here for this. I need this, that. We never really had a contract. He was bleeding us dry to build a website for us. And in the end, he
Mhm.
didn't build anything. And we had already spent about $500, most of it out of
He
my
took your
pocket.
money. Your money.
Took my money, most
He
of it
took
out
your
of my
money.
pocket. At least I was making pretty good money. I was working at Deloitte and Touche at that time. So
Yeah.
I told him, well, you know what? Let me look into this and see if I can figure out how to design these websites. So I looked into it.
Yes.
Then I asked my
Okay. I
brother
think.
Sandra, yeah. I said, check this out. Then I contacted you. I said, hey man, I need Ogel, I need some materials to go in here. Can you write something so we could put it in here? And you wrote the first major material that came outside of what we had in African Guardianism came from you, and on I provided the
Hmm.
technology. And we started with a
Yes.
5-page website, and we kept at it. Energy of positive thinking. This is not bigger than us. We have a goal, and we're going to
Yes.
figure out how to do it.
Yes.
It's going to be painful, but
Yes.
every time I get off work,
Yes.
I come home, I'm on the computer learning how to design a website. Next thing you know, it went from
Hmm.
a 5-page website to a 10-page website to a 20-page
10
website
page
to a
website.
30-page website.
Yes.
Over the years,
Yeah.
we kept
Hmm.
at it.
Just keep
We
growing.
started to
Yeah.
influence on the internet how people saw African
Yeah.
religion.
People
Most
research.
of the stuff
People
I
are
can
doing research on chism.org.
on Tuesday, I can
Yeah. Yeah. They're
confidently
doing
tell
research on
you
that.
that
Yeah.
we on the internet started the debate and the focus on African spirituality. We
Tell the
we're
truth.
the ones. A lot of stuff you see now came from us. So you may not get a lot of rah rah rah. You may not have people saying, "Oh, they are the ones," because they're using your material, or you were able to influence their thinking where they decided to say, "Hey, I like what these people are doing. I'm going to start my own stuff, and I'm going to talk about the same thing as they're talking about, maybe from a different angle or
Yes.
whatever." But we kept at it. Then we went off into Cheers University. Then we went off into
Yes.
African Continental University, and we actually designed a website. Now, to
Yes.
culminate our effort, me, you, and Ogele,
Hmm.
I mean, Onu,
Hmm.
it has culminated in you being is it a chairman or chair lady for the women's wing of
President.
PAFM. This is what we've
Hmm.
gone into now. We're streaming on
Yeah.
radio. We have our
Yes.
YouTube channel. We continue. We have a Facebook page. We continue to move ahead. We're not interested in the purse or what it is that is going to come into our coffers for us to be motivated to do it. We do it because it's necessary. We do it because of the love of our African community. We want to see ourselves, our community, do better. And we decided to think positively and look at ourselves as those people that are going to do whatever it takes to start the conversation about the black man and woman looking in the mirror, understanding that we're responsible for our successes today. We can no longer blame somebody else for it. This is the 21st century.
It's
It's sink or swim.
it's nobody
We,
cares, you. Here's the thing
nobody
people need to
cares.
know.
We
Nobody
have to be
cares about your
positive.
problem but you.
Right,
You
you.
should
So
be
you
the
have to
one
look at it
who
positively.
cares.
Decide on strategies that allows
That's
you
it.
to get to the promised land that you seek, and that is because of positive thinking. No goal was
Thinking.
too big for us. As far as we are concerned, we can do it. We think of the how do we do it,
That's right.
and we
That's right.
continue to think of the hows and develop strategies and keep connecting with the people out there so that they could think positively and believe that if we put our hands or our minds together and come up with the right strategies, whatever goals that
Hmm.
we have as people of African ancestry, we can achieve it, both on the individual
Think
level and also from the communal level.
even global level. It is
Yeah.
imperative. One thing that if you do your research, if you're really curious about humanity, if you take the time and do some research and read, I'm my daughter in Florida, my youngest, she'll read something and then she'll call me and say, well, what do you think about this? How is this? I have a question about this. It's her thing is how do I
Mm-hmm.
do this? How do I do that? She never calls me to complain. I'll tell you about that. That girl never calls me to complain about nothing. She always calls me to ask, Mom, how do I do this? How do I do that? What do I do about this? Then I have my oldest girl. She has a skill. She's a awesome cook. Awesome cook. It's always, how do I use this skill set? She's a food designer. She's majoring in food science. It's food designer. That's what she is. She can take food and just make absolute designs out of it. So I'm very curious because my son, the same thing. My son is a powerful speaker. If I give him a topic, I don't tell him the answer. I say, you go and figure it out. This is what I want to talk about. He has to go and figure it out. So people who are positive do not spend time trying to argue about why this is that. Instead, they argue about how do I do something. Now, I want to tell you, you were telling a story about the young man in Akara. Okay. Well, let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you one in Uganda. Okay. Poor, hungry, digs and trash to eat. One day, now, he's always been very creative young man, but poverty and all of that took his parents,
Frozen.
and so he was on. But so one day he went to the market where, I mean, the park, where people get transportation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you hail transportation to take you where you have to go. One of the things that he
Yeah.
noticed is that people, particularly pregnant women, older women, they get so tired standing and waiting for the bus, right? And there are no
Mm-hmm.
chairs anywhere. There are no seats. So you find a pregnant woman, or a tired old woman, or old man, they're standing there waiting for the longest, or they'll finally sit on the floor. So he went and cut up some wood and created two chairs. Think about what I'm about to tell you. When people are saying, "Oh, I don't have money, Dr. Sibley, can you give me a penny?" This and that. If you start thinking about what you can do, how you can solve your problem, you will be happy and you will stop begging. But this is what he did. He used wood and he created two chairs, right? He'll take it to the market and he'll ask people to give him a few little money, right? Few pennies, which they're willing,
Yeah.
because if you're tired, trust me, you will pay to sit down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll
Yeah.
pay him to sit down. So he said, well, this is interesting. So what did he do? He cleared a space in the park
Mm.
and put four chairs. And he'll stand there and tell you, if you're tired, come and sit. If you're tired, come and sit. And people will go there and sit. So he said, why, wait a minute. This is a kid, 16 years old. He created the sitting area in a park. He's making money from that. And he got other, just like the little Akara person, that he got
Yeah.
other people to the other parts to do the same thing. Now he's making money.
Mm-hmm.
I say this: if you're a positive thinker, you don't blame anyone. You don't think about what coulda, shoulda, woulda. You don't think about what you could have done in the past or what somebody did. You always take whatever your talents are. Now, have you did you've gone to the station? People sing. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever gone to the station, to the railway station, and you see a person sitting there, either playing a
Yeah.
guitar or just there,
Mm-hmm.
just singing? And they put their little hat on the floor, and people are giving them money. Some of them
Yeah.
end up on America Goes Talent, or somebody sees them and say, "Wow, I think I need you, for my show or whatever." Do you understand what I'm saying? Positive
Mm.
people do not look at. This is not to say that bad things don't happen. There are bad things that will
Yeah.
happen that will upset the heck
Life
out
is,
of you, of course.
yeah.
You know what? That's life. Life will happen to you.
Life happens. It's just the
But
way it
the
is
point
in the
is,
animal
don't sit.
kingdom and out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't sit there. That's why Les Brown said, we're all gonna fall someday. That is a given. But the important thing is, when you fall, try falling on your back. Try
Mm-hmm.
falling looking up. Because if you can look up, that means you can get up. You know what I'm saying? Don't just lay there.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there and complain about what happened to you or what people are doing to you. And most importantly, you did. And you can
Mm.
jump in here. I think
Yeah.
the worst thing that we do is, misery loves company. I think that the worst thing we do is we find people who are miserable and we hang
Mm.
up with them. Feed our miserable soul. What do you think about that?
Forget it. Keep talking. Show yourself, and in less than 30 seconds, come back and show me. But I got another story to tell. But I got to get a prop to do it. So just cut me off.
Okay.
Keep talking,
Okay.
and put me back in 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. So anyway, in effect, you heard what he said. He's going to be back. He's got a prop that he wants to use for to promote a particular thought. But what I'm saying is that if I say this is a phrase that, well, it's not a phrase, it's a comment that I make all the time, and that is, if you if you believe that you can do something, just do it. Just do it. Just tell yourself, yes, I can. Just do it. Don't wait for validation. Don't wait for anybody to tell you, oh, you can or cannot do, because they will. Okay? Don't marinate in your negativity, like Matthew Lewis says. Don't marinate in the negativity. Believe in yourself, believe in what you can achieve, and go after it with all of your capacity. All of your capacity. Here he is. He's back there. Are you
Okay.
ready to share?
Yeah, I'm ready to
Okay,
share.
go ahead.
I remember in
Go ahead
2014,
then.
and you're well aware of it. In 2014, I got laid off on my job. I didn't
Yes.
have work, and
Yes, I
we
remember
had
that.
done a yeah, me and my brother, Ono, we had done a one-page calendar. So to make a long story short, I was out of work for 14 months. But instead of sitting around and going, "Oh, I don't have a job. It's somebody's fault. The world is
Yes.
falling," all that negativity. I said, "Well, I'm just going to take this time and be creative and do something that is going to be beneficial to me, beneficial to Chiism, and beneficial to the Ghanaian religion and everybody involved in it." You remember this.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I decided to design the only marketable African calendar that is just not a way of showing how we kept time and date before the Europeans and the Arabs came to our shores in Africa, but also a way to teach African history, to teach Africa's contribution to civilized behavior, and everything that you want to learn about Africa, you can find in our calendars. So look at that, y'all. This is what 14 months did for me. Not having a job, I created African calendar. This one is called African Sports Icons. And this is what it looks like. It actually has a subject matter. For example, there's Muhammad Ali. And over here is the actual African calendar with a Gregorian interpretation of the calendar. All 13 months. This is about the Williams sisters, and you get to read about the Williams sisters. You get to read about African calendar, how it all started. You get to learn something about African history here. And here is another calendar month. Well, this is African sports icons. And then I created one called African scientists and inventors. And as a matter of fact, this is what the back looks like, where you get to learn about different African scientists and inventors like Sheikh Anta Diop, Philip Emeagwali, Francis Okeke, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Vivian Theodore Thomas, April Erickson Jackson, Kojo Green Cow, Patricia Bath, Benjamin Banneker, Bisi Ezehira, George Washington Carver, Thebe Madupe, Richard Teture, and so on and so forth. And of course, that's my father, that's my brother, that's Ogele, and that's me right here. And this is African scientists. You get to learn about different African scientists, and it follows the same format as the calendar that I just showed you as soon as I started this. Then there's one called African Kingdoms and Empires. You get to learn about different African kingdoms. You get to learn about the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, Songhai Empire, the Kingdom of Kush, Ethiopian Empire, Zulu Empire, Benin Empire, so on and so forth. And you flip it open, and it's got all this different subject matter that you could learn. Over here, one of the empires, right? And over here, another African fact over here. And of course, the calendar with the horoscope. We also have a horoscope, y'all. We did all that stuff. This is called African masks. And over here, you get to learn about different African masks. Here we go. You get to learn about the Lube style mask, the Dan mask, the Mukenga mask, so on and so forth. Oh, done in 14 months. It's 32 pages, each one of these calendars, and you get to learn about these different max and all that kind of stuff. And then finally, we have great African, greatest Africans in history. And of course, you get to learn about people like Imhotep, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahai Keoko Onyoha, John Hanson, Miriam Makeba, Nelson Mandela, Marcus Garvey, Wangari Maathai, Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama, Noah the First, so on and so forth. The point I'm making is, instead of sitting there and going, "Oh man, I just lost my job," I decided that they handed me lemons by, taking my job from me, temporarily speaking. So I decided to make lemons with the time that I had on my hands. Positive thinking.
That's right.
As opposed to woe is me.
That's it.
Here's something I'm going to do. And after this calendar were created, after they were created, I didn't have a job, but I went out. I get in my car every morning, and I went to every bookstore. If you go downtown Atlanta, these calendars are over there. The owner of the bookstore, one of the largest bookstores in Atlanta, even made a video for me talking about how great these calendars are. Cheers him. We have our own calendar. We are the only ones that have this on
We
the
have our own
market.
university.
We have our own university. So
We have
it
our
is
own
a
university with
power of positive thinking. There's nothing that you can
thinking.
do if you put your mind to it. If they give
That's
you
right.
lemons, make lemonade. You only go
Lemonade.
as far
That's
as
right.
your vision will take you.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing it. And I just important people know if you go to the website, is it you did know you have there's another website where they can
AfricanCalendar.org.
Af- yeah, africancalendar.org. Can you talk
Yes.
about that for a minute, please?
Yeah,
Go ahead and talk about that.
AfricanCalendar.org is a website that we have these calendars on the website, and you get to learn about the calendars, and you could order a copy of your African calendar. It's the only one in the market, and the raw material is endless, history is endless. There's no monopoly. It belongs to everybody. So we're going to continue to create these calendars on every subject matter, from holistic medicine to everything that we could, find in terms of our contribution to civilized behavior in sciences, in leadership, in civic laws, in empires, whatever it is that Africans contributed to civilized behavior, we're going to create calendars to address every one of these topics. And if you have any suggestions of any calendar that you might want to see us create, just let us know, drop us a note, or discuss it on our show. Go to our website, africancalendar.org, and you can order these calendars. Right now, these calendars are there.
Is it African
African
calendar or
calendar,
calendars?
African
No
calendars,
S.
no S.
Okay.
AfricanCalendar.org. We're going to update them before the year is over with the
There's a
20,
big demand in Nigeria
2021,
right now for it. Big demand.
yeah,
It,
2021,
yeah.
2022. So for as a collector's item, you could go and order what we have on there right now. And then by the grace of God, sometime next year, we're actually going to have an app that you could download from Google and Apple Store on your phone, where these calendars, you can have it right on your cell phone. Okay, so that's the next thing that we're going to do, to promote this and put it out there. The Arabs have the Arabic calendar, the Mayans have the Mayan calendar, the Europeans have the Gregorian calendar, the Chinese have their own Chinese calendars. Every culture has its own calendar, and it's time for Africa to put its own calendar out there. And hopefully it's not about the Kenyans having a calendar and the South Africans having a calendar. It's not about the diversity aspect of it. It's about finding commonality between these African cultures, where we develop one calendar that we in Africa can coalesce globally and use that to date ourselves into the 21st century. It doesn't mean that you have to wake up to go to work on a Monday based on this calendar, but the idea is to be able to celebrate common festivities in our African global community, just like there's only one Gregorian calendar, there's only one Chinese calendar, but there are different Chinese tribes. There's only one European Gregorian calendar, but you have the French, you have the Germans, you have the Scots, you have the British, you have the Italians, you have the Danes, but they're all using the same calendar. Africa, we need to find one voice in just about everything that we do while respecting our diversity. And that's what these calendars are all about.
And we're not here to say, oh, everybody must follow this calendar.
No.
If we get one person or two and you like it, give it to the next person, give it to the next person. You promote it. See, we promote our own things. We don't need people to promote us. We can do the same thing ourselves. So if you get one and you like it, give it to, tell somebody else. Even when you have holidays, if instead of you buying all these silly things that we buy for the holidays, buy the African calendar and give it to your
great
son, give
gift.
it to your daughter,
Great
give
gift
it
to
somebody,
have.
who
Yeah,
can, who,
it's great.
yes. I want to end this show today. We could be here forever. But this program is supposed to be streaming, so I have to go to get to the radio station and make sure that I want to end it with this quote from Nosferatu. The universe hears and picks up your energy. If it is low and negative, it will continue to stay that way. Even when things are hard and difficult, if you try to think positively, the universe will follow suit. It is hard at times, but it is doable. Also, follow your heart and what you believe in it and go for it. And I will end this show
Yes.
on that note. Nosferatu, that was brilliant. Thank you, Kuna Charles, for joining us, Matthew Lewis for joining us, K.O. Miri for joining us. Let's see, there's somebody else here that I need to call out. Badia Peabody Onyoha, thank you. My sister, but from another mother. Thank you for joining us. And all the other people who joined us, several people joined us on Chism Live. Thank you. And Global Fit Ministries and Chism Live YouTube. So we want to thank what has said. Go for it. Positive thinking all the way. And African calendar, go there and order one. Let me leave you guys with this beautiful song. Well, you guys know it already. Somebody, Kuna Charles has been asking me for this song. Ukuna, I'll make sure that you get this song, the full song. Okay, that'll be my gift to you because you love it. So I'm gonna end this show with the song Byakuteya Byazurike. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. And
I
here
got
we
this.
go.
Ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka anyị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka anyị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị.